If you want to give feedback better than 99% of other leaders, you have to do what 99% of leaders are not willing to do. That sounds obvious, right? The training industry is flooded with conflicting advice on how to give feedback. Most people are familiar with the basics. Be constructive, be timely, but let's be real. Does it really work? Research says otherwise. Neuroscientists at Columbia University found that giving feedback only succeeds in improving performance 30% of the time. And I think if we're really truly honest with ourselves, most of us struggle to give, receive, and most importantly, act on feedback. How often have you received feedback from a boss or colleague and felt that rush of blood when you get angry, defensive, or embarrassed? You might put it down to your boss's unrealistic expectations or the fact that your colleague is just a bit jealous. But one thing is for sure, you're not going to listen to them and you're not going to act on it. And that's just one response. Equally, you might feel shame, freeze, or panic. Let me explain why this happens, and more importantly, give you 3 practical strategies that can help. So the first thing you need to understand is that when you're given feedback, it triggers an evolutionary response in the amygdala. That's a special area of the brain that tells us that we're under attack. So that desire to whack your boss with a stapler is an evolutionary response. It's in your DNA. Knowing how uncomfortable this makes us feel, it's logical that we wouldn't want to inflict this on another person, especially a direct report or a coworker. And that's because humans have subconscious programming that tells us that we should be nice and likable. We long to fit in. We're also taught by our parents from a really young age. Be polite, don't say anything, don't upset anyone. Let's face it, none of us want to damage our great relationships that ensure our standing in the organisation and our potential for promotions and praise. And it goes back even further. It's an evolutionary response. If we're part of a tribe, we're less likely to be killed by a tiger. We're more likely to be fed by the woolly mammoth that the tribe has killed. We're also more likely to make babies with someone. So fitting in ensures our survival and the survival of our species. In a leadership role, that could be seriously holding you back. How can you give difficult feedback to someone? Because you don't want to hurt their feelings, right? That would make you a bad person. There's a famous Carl Jung quote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate." Feedback isn't just a skill, it's a mindset shift. And by making friends with our nervous systems, we can get better control of our natural instincts. This results in a switch from your sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for fight and flight, to switching on your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for the rest and digest state. With your mind under control, you can focus on practical ways to deliver the feedback effectively. I bet now you think I'm going to give you a 3-step model for delivering effective feedback. No, you never need to pay an expert to deliver that to you. You can Google it. It will take you 10 seconds. The most important thing I can teach you to do when it comes to giving and receiving effective feedback is to get control of your nervous system, cultivate your relationship with discomfort, and then get on with it. My final tip, never give feedback over one-way communication like email. You need to be brave enough to deliver the difficult feedback face-to-face. If you don't, this can lead to some really undesirable behaviours. So there you have it. If you want to be an effective modern leader, you need to rewire the way you think about feedback and get comfortable with receiving and giving it. Transparent feedback is critical for building a strong culture and a thriving business built on trust. If you're a leader, building a culture of feedback and transparency starts with you.